So before I start talking about that, I want to ask you a question. What do you think the father's role is in a child's life? Like the number one role, like the number one function? Brother, welcome to another episode of The Elite Game. What can I do as a father so I make sure that my kids' lives are slowly destroyed in the next 10, 15 years? This question I asked ChatGPT because I believe that we spend too much time learning how to make money, learning how to be in better shape, perhaps learning shit that doesn't even matter that much. And we don't spend the time in learning how to be a better parent. I know that I could perhaps spend more time in this area of my life. I already spend time. I think I could spend more time. So that's why I decided to do this podcast, because as I am speaking with you, it gives me the opportunity to think about things and think about the way I parent and think about what I can do to improve the way I parent. So I hope you do the same, man. That's why I decided to share this with you. And as I was saying, I asked ChatGPT, hey, if I could do anything just to screw up my kids' lives while they're young, what do I need to do? So I came up with 5 things that for me as a father, it means more than the other 5 things that ChatGPT mentioned. Perhaps if you're a mom, you would have picked the other 5 or 5 different ones, but I think for a father, these are the ones that are more important. Ready? So before I start talking about that, I just want to ask you a question. What do you think the father's role is in a child's life? Like the number one role, like the number one function? Like what is the main thing that if you fail at this, you totally failed at being a father? For me, is if my kids are prepared for the adult life. Not if they feel loved, not if they know that I have their back, but if I know that once they're out there as an adult, they're able to face life and face the situations and solve the problems that need to be solved. So I believe that that is the main job for a parent, more specifically for a dad, for a father. Now, you might disagree with me. I mean, other shit is so important too. But I think if you're willing to do that, then you did your job as a dad. But so let's dive into this answers from ChatGPT, shall we? It's very, very interesting. So for the next 10 minutes, we're going to just dive into these 5 things that if you do them correctly, you're going to screw up your kids' lives. Hint, don't do these things, so then you are a successful parent. All right, so we're going to start with the being absent. And I look at this in 2 different ways. You can be absent physically. You can choose to spend most of your time at work. And a little sidebar. As a man, as a leader in your family, your job as a man is to provide for your family. So there's going to be times where you are going to have to spend a lot of time, a lot of extra time in the office, in your business to make sure that you meet your goals and make sure that your family is provided for. Just a little sidebar. But if you choose to be absent throughout years and years of your kids' lives, because by the time they're 17, 18, man, that's it. Like you miss your window. So if you choose to be absent physically, then there's nothing you can do to change that or to change the harm that you're going to cause them Like there's nothing. There's nothing you can buy or say or do for them. Like you cannot erase that. So if there's one thing that I know and I always knew, and that is something I don't have a regret over because I always been there for my kids. But the other part is even if I'm there physically, even if I walk in the door, even if I'm sitting at the dinner table, even if you're talking to me, am I really there? Emotionally, mentally, am I there? When you are talking to me and tell me a story about something that happened at school, am I there? And I don't even need to be on my phone, which obviously if I'm on my phone or do something else, I'm not going to be totally there, listen to you. But even if I'm there, and even if I'm looking at you, is my brain, is my mind present on the things that you're telling me? Or am I thinking about problems and work and other women and situations and issues with the family or whatever? Like, what am I thinking? Am I there? I can be there physically, but that doesn't mean shit. And the kids realize this, man. They're not stupid. They're not dumb. They know. And if they feel that energy from you, if they feel that, okay, my dad is here physically, but mentally, emotionally, he's not there. He's somewhere else. Like they're going to feel that energy from you and they're going to shut you out. They're going to build a wall around them. And if this happens a lot of times and throughout their childhood, in their teenage years, they're going to have a wall up that you will not be able to tear down very easily. If any. Why? Because they're going to protect themselves from someone that really didn't bother to have the energy to be there and listen to them and participate in their lives. And I cannot blame them. You cannot blame them. Because you can't. Because we do that shit with other people. Like I can be talking to you. And if we're having a conversation. And if I'm looking at your face, but I can tell that you're not here, what am I going to do? I'm going to also do the same thing. I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, this was great. See you later. But then I'm not going to want to come back to you and talk to you because I know that you're not even making the effort to be here. So being present in your kids' lives, when it comes to being there physically, when it comes to being there emotionally and mentally, are two different things, right? Next. The lack of spiritual or moral values. So I'm going to bring this into the conversation about God. Like, how much of a spiritual leader am I being in my household? What kind of spiritual leadership do my kids receive from me as their father? This is number one, bro. What type of leadership spiritually do they get from you? Do they know God from your lips, from your actions, from the way you act with the wife, with the other kids, with everyone around you? How much of a spiritual leader are you being inside your family, inside your kids' lives? This for me has been non-existent until a year and a half ago. Zero leadership when it comes to spirituality in my household for until a year and a half ago. And I recognize that, you know what? Like, I should learn how to forgive myself to things that I messed up on. And this is one of them. And I have. And you should also. Because at the end of the day, we all messed up and we all do things and don't do things we're supposed to because we don't know any better. Or because we knew better, but we didn't bother to actually pay attention of what we are doing. But since about a year and a half ago. Dude, I've been making up time. Let me tell you. Like right now, God is in my home. God is in my kids' lives, and my kids know God. Why? Because I know God. And because I brought that into my home. So I'm asking you, bro, like what kind of spiritual leadership do you bring into your household? Think about this. This, for a lot of men, for a lot of families, is non-existent. And until you know what you're missing, like nothing will never change. And until you know that this is the most important part, then you're going to be focusing on other things instead. And other things are important too. But in my experience, I got to tell you, this is number one. Like, are you bringing God into your family? Okay, next. Don't set limits. We all agree that limits, rules, structure, it's required. It's needed when it comes to having success